Alright, what's up guys? Sorry I haven't been around in a few days. I've been feeling a little under the weather, but figured I'd do a 100 subscriber special. I have a $500 pair of IEMs here. These are my MoFastest MoFastest trio. They're from Pennon. This is the second pair that I've owned, and this will also be the second pair that I'm taking apart. They're good, but they're not $500 good, and I would much rather sacrifice the parts inside. If you guys take a look here, kind of a hoarder. My last victim was the Mangrid T. So I have some drivers here from the Mangrid T, a bunch of Sonian BA from them. We've got some tweeters. These are some Knowles that I picked up. So yeah, I like taking shit apart. Oh yeah, and the dynamic drivers too. These are like supposedly those German engineered dynamic drivers. Oh, and also, ooh, I'll have a review of these coming up, along with something that rhymes with unique melody miest mjark mew. Yes, that will be reviewed, and then I also have Dunu SA6, so stay tuned for that one. Yeah, so these guys, I got them on eBay. Second set that I bought, $500. I paid $350 for them. They consist of the same dynamic driver as the Mangrid T, 2 Sonian drivers, 25 something something or other, and then 2 electrostatic drivers. And that's what I want to get to. Before I decided to destroy them, I made copies of the shells. So these are all copies. I got more copies. More copies. As you can see, I like to make shells. So lots of shells here. I got more shells. But yeah, the reason why I'm taking them apart, they don't sound good to me anymore. They have been supplanted by one of my prototypes, which you can kind of see on the screen here. This is actually a reshell of the prototype that I made. Doesn't quite fit the response that I originally had for it. Bass is a little more elevated. It was actually like a flat line here. But yeah, that kills them, destroys them. So I don't need these anymore because I could make my own that sound better. So I figured I would use the electrostatics for my own flagship. So anywho, let's get into them. Hopefully I don't cut the shit out of my fingers. But yeah, I hope you guys have been alright. Like I said, I've been a little under the weather. No COVID or nothing like that. I just been not feeling well. That was a long story, but yeah. So basically, I made molds of these. So I don't really care what happens to the shells. In fact, I actually have all the broken pieces from the last set I destroyed sitting in a box to my left. Oh shit. Come on, faceplate. There we go. Alright. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Not too bad. They definitely glued the shit out of that one. And I didn't like the faceplates of these anyway. They're fucking ugly. They're like white. And this print, and when you look at them up close, you can see the dots from the printing, and it's just not, they're not high quality. Let's see if I can get that off. As far as technique I use, I basically just take a razor knife. I have a lot of them sitting around, and just start from the bottom edge, the pointiest edge, and you find the gap between the faceplate and the shell, and work your way inside there and pop it off, and it usually comes off pretty clean. I did the same thing to the Menger T, and it came off just fine. So you can see inside there are a couple capacitor resistor combos, R2BA, and then buried down inside is the transformer for the electrostatic driver, and I believe somewhere on this side below the connector is the actual electrostatic drivers. So anywho, I had just put these nozzles back on, and I had resined them in so I could listen to these again, because I just got them back from a friend of mine. I sent him a couple prototypes that I made, and then I sent him these as well, and he liked the prototypes more, and I didn't really agree with him at the time until I received them back after not hearing them for like a couple weeks. And I gotta say that they in fact do sound much better than these. These just don't. And you know what? It's weird, because, so like I said, this is the second pair I bought. The first pair I had a different faceplate, and I swear to God, had a different frequency response. Just ever so slightly. I think that it had more air in the treble. You could actually hear the electrostatics, and it's like in these, it's like almost as if you can't even hear it. And it's the craziest thing, because you think that anything with electrostatic would have like crazy treble resolution, but these things just kind of suck. They're not really that good. Alright, so that's off. Compared to like variations, or like your Dunu EST112, or the SA6, or shit, even the Menger T, they're just lacking behind. The $500 market segment has really come a long way, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it when I go to review the Mest, and when I put it against the variations. But god damn, man, Moondrop, they really know their tuning. So if you have $500 to spend and you're looking for a damn good IEM, Variations is where it's at. It's tuned slightly fun. It's that typical Moondrop house sound. Decent amount of air, decent amount of resolution, good overall pleasing tuning, somewhat reminiscent to like the Harman Target. Ooh, this one's coming off easy. Come to me. Come to daddy. But yeah, it's kind of like Harmonish tuned a little bit. I haven't graphed them yet, but you can just tell bass is elevated, treble's elevated. But man, do they sound clean. If I could take those apart, they're not mine, so I can't, but if I could take these suckers apart right here, I would totally take those apart. I would take the mesh apart too, but, you know, I'd get in trouble. A buddy of mine would kill me. So, one easy way to get IMs disassembled is to dig out the resin, kind of break it loose. A lot of times you sacrifice the tubes, and you do risk damaging some things. Like I see the transformers right in this corner, and I do not want to damage that. So I will go with my old approach. Since I can make new shells, I will just destroy the old shells. And remember, guys, these are $500. These are not cheap. Of course, like I said, I did not pay $500, but that does not mean that these are not $500. And I hate these fucking Sonyan drivers because the terminals are so delicate. Oh shit. I'm sorry, it's hard to see. I got those lights behind me, or in front of me. Come on. Whoops. Alright, so here's our transformer. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've done this a few times. You know what? I'm going to turn on the soldering iron because I think I can get these wires off cleanly. A lot of times the wires will be potted in resin, but I can see whoever did this did a pretty good job putting it together. The main grid T was a total loss as far as the wiring goes, coming from the connector here. You know what? I can just... Oops. There we go. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's the electrostatics right there. They are extremely delicate. I mean, extremely delicate. And then the transformers right here. Same thing with the transformer. You gotta be very, very careful with this stuff. And you have a wire, and it's funny enough because first time I took this set apart, I made my own DIY tribrid, and I fucking knocked off one of the wires, and I had to resolder it, and I swear to God, they are the most nerve-wracking, tiny-ass little piece of shit, aggravating connectors you've ever dealt with in your life. Let's see if I can. Oh, I just snagged it. Yeah, the deeper you go, the more nerve-wracking it gets. if you ever take apart a set of resin IEMs, the trick is just to go slow. It's not a race. Just go slow, take your time. Slowly work away at the resin. Try not to have any fly into your eyes. But yeah, basically you can see the assembly of the shell. So, nozzle comes out here, electrostatic on one side, BAs on the other side, crossover components all rest underneath, and the woofer sits at the top. It's all cheap copper wiring. It's not using any like Litz cable or any of that fancy stuff. Hey boy. Come on. Come on. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, there you go. All right. Sweet. So there is our wiring. I'm almost afraid to go further with this fucking thing on my head. But you guys kind of get the gist. Ouch. There's a lot of destruction. And then sometimes I'll break out these because they got teeth on them. Only problem is they're fucking huge. It's getting there. Sometimes I'll also use my my Dremel tool, and I'll just start cutting. Because this is going to be the hardest part right here, right where the transformer lies. So I'll get back to that probably off camera. Now let's do the other side here, because I really need to salvage these parts. I do not want a worthless $350 worth of parts. I'm sure some of you would say, Jeff, you already got a worthless $350 in parts. You just destroyed your IEM. You can never use it again. What are you doing? Well, you're not me. I take my shit apart, as you can see, but I make new things out of it. I don't make many new things, but like these, this is something I'm working on right. Oops, they're broken now. This is a 6+1, so I made a pair of those. Still have to finish tuning them, but it's a shell that I molded myself. Got metal tube for the treble BA, 6 BA, 1 woofer per ear. Has nothing to do with the Mangered T. Then I got, other stuff that I'm working on as far as testing and stuff. I do a lot of testing, a lot of measurements and stuff, just trying to see the performance of the drivers themselves. I buy a lot of various drivers, just one-offs, so I can graph them, kind of listen to them. You know, I'll put them in something, listen to them for a while, see how they perform. If they perform well, then I'll use them. Sometimes I'll use them in conjunction with other drivers that have a similar response to kind of fill out the gaps in the driver that I'm using. Yeah, see, in this one here, the fuckers glued the wire with resin, so it's fucking actually like resined together. At least that stuff was easy to cut through. That's another thing I do is, since there's not much information online, I mean there's a little bit, but I have to find out on my own like what kind of materials they use. Like this inside resin, it's a little softer. It's useful against like vibrations and stuff. You don't want super hard resin to pot your connections and stuff, because if you do that, basically they're more susceptible to shock, vibration, shock damage. So you want to use like a softer type of resin, especially when you're trying to reshell IEMs. You don't want to go filling the whole thing up with resin. I've done that before. I did that on the last pair. That's why I don't have the pair of tribrids that I made before, because what happened was I made them and I got overzealous with the resin, and I just filled them up completely with resin. And so then when I tried to take them apart and use them for something else, fucking all the drivers were just no good. There was no way to dig them out, and the resin was like super hard resin, so it wasn't like, you know, I could just take them and you know, untune them. There we go. I can't see if I damaged that wire or not. It's not a big deal. I'm not worried about damaged wires. I'm just worried about damaged drivers. As far as quality of drivers go, a lot of people ask me, so, oh, what's better, you know, Sonian or Knowles? They both have their place. So Sonian drivers are way smoother response. They don't have a sharp BA timbre, but they have, how do I explain it? It's a, trying to think of the right word for it. It's like a muffled, how do I explain it? It's not sharp, but they have a timbre to them, but it's a weird, like, muffled kind of blunt. Yeah, I guess that's the right word. They have a blunted type of sound to them, and sometimes they can get overly blunted. So a lot of times, if you're using Sonian drivers, it's good to use enough impedance of dampener to cut down on the peaks, so you don't have these like elevations in the graph, like you see here with this graph that I made, my DIY IEMs here. You can see it's super linear. There's not, there's a couple little dips here and here, but for the most part, I mean, that's a smooth, you're not seeing like whoop, whoop, whoop. It's not roller coaster, You have your sub-bass elevation, which is the way I like it. I like a lean mid-bass, so it scoops out early, starts decaying, or starts to level out at about 100 hertz, and then levels out. Nice, clean, lean mids overall, brings out the detail in the higher end. and then you have about a 10 dB peanut gain. Let's see, so we start off at a little bit below 90, and we end off at a little above, or a little below 100. So that's perfect peanut gain, and you like a nice slow slope, because if your slope rises too fast, right in this 1K region here, that's where you get like a honky kind of boxy sound, is right in this area. And so you want to see this. If you look at the recent KZ models, the CRN and the CRA, they both do the same thing. They have this slow slope from 1 to 3 kilohertz. Is exactly what you want to see. You know, and then your ears become more sensitive to higher frequencies as the frequencies travel upward. The last revision I had just went straight out and got a little bit fatiguing. And it's super nice to listen to. It sounded good. The tuning was great, but it's just a little fatiguing, a little too detailed, a little too revealing. You want this natural kind of slope as you gradually creep into the higher frequencies. And I mean, you can see the amount of air that these IMs have. 15.9 kilohertz is your last peak. So that's like 16 kilohertz. That's great. That's perfect. You can hear all the details with those. These are not as good. Actually, I have, let's see. I'll actually show you what they look like. And of course I have like all my secret prototype information in here. Let's see. So that's the MoFastest Trio. You see, look how bad that is, man. Look how awful that is. The bass is good. The mids overall are good. But this slope is a little bit of like a roller coaster. You know, it's not like straight or diagonal. It kind of goes up and then boom. What the freak is that? Look at that dip. And then goes up and then back down. It's just too sharp of a dip from your first or your primary peak to your secondary peak. And it just kind of masks the information that's left over in the end there, when it should be a nice gradual decline. That might be a little sharp, but I don't know. Sounds good to my ears. Much better than the MoFastest Trio there. And then if we open up the Mangard T, I hope you guys can see this, because I got this stupid thing on my head. What am I doing? Mangard T. T modded. Oh yeah, I modded it too. Mangard T right here. So this is the Mangard T in the middle. Let me get rid of the Trio. Boom. So that's the Mangard T. Still got a little spike there, but you can see the mids have flattened out a lot more. They start a little bit earlier on, which gives you a little bit more of that boxiness sound, which I don't personally like, but still, it's a nice slow rise up to 3 kilohertz, and then kind of holds. You want it to hold up till about 5 kilohertz preferably. You can have a little dip. 4K is one of the pain points for people, so if you are going to have it hold to like 4 kilohertz, you want to make sure that it's smooth in nature and not aggressive, because that is the number one mistake that people say. They say, oh, it's got a peak at 4 kilohertz. Oh, the peak doesn't matter. I mean, it does a little bit, but mostly it's the timbre of the sound in that region. You know, if it's sharp or aggressive in any way, or if there are any phase inconsistencies, phase issues, it's not, not coherent. That will definitely give you a sense of fatigue. And then the next ones would be 6 kilohertz. That's where a lot of your perceived detail comes from, but can also be a little bit fatiguing. That was one of the issues with the Blessing 2. And I think that's what Critical worked on when he made the Blessing 2 Dusk. And then your next peak is the 8 kilohertz peak. Now I think this peak is more or less due to the coupler, the resonances in the coupler. It's not as much due to the IEM itself. So it's just some IEMs do it, some don't. It has something to do with the air gap inside. It's a cheaper unit. It's not made for precision, so it's not precise. Anything after 8 kilohertz. They're still usable measurements if you know your equipment, but if you're a professional laboratory with the IEC 711, you don't trust anything after 8 kilohertz. It's all garbage. But anyway, you can see there's some information here. If that peak isn't as existent, I think that slope is acceptable. I don't quite remember how shimmery they were. I know they had a decent amount of detail in the upper end registers, but the MoFastest Trio is just not good. In fact, we can let's see. Well, that's not quite aligned. That's supposed to be 1 kilohertz. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so they're not tuned the greatest, the mofos. So that's why I'm doing this, because I think I could do a better job of making my own flagship, per se. I actually have 2 more of these electrostatic units on the way, and I found one at an incredible price, so I'm going to buy another one too. And then also I have all these Sonian drivers from the Mangard T, which are like super nice drivers. These, I don't know if you can see those, really nice drivers. And then I got a bunch of other drivers that I want to try. This AJ, what is it? Something 30029. It's a it's a clone of the Knowles 30029. And then I have these new what are they? LCP drivers. They're just cheapos. I think these are like $3 for a pair, and they're okay so far. They're not great, they're not bad. And then I have a lot of other miscellaneous drivers. There's another Sonian here. I got a couple Knowles drivers. So yeah, experimenting, playing around, but I think I can make a better flagship than what these were already. So that's basically what I'm doing with this. And I just figured, since I somehow got to over 100 subscribers, that I would take these apart for you guys, and you could witness me actually destroying IEMs, which is how I got my reputation. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Jeff, take this apart, take that apart." I'm like, I can't afford to. I only have so much money. I can't blow like thousands of dollars taking stuff apart for no. I mean, I've already spent thousands of dollars, and I've already taken thousands of dollars worth of stuff apart. But I see the fallacy in it. There's some things, yeah, that I want to learn about. If I ever got a good deal on a Mest, I would probably take the Mest apart. And that's not a joke. I'm being serious. Fuck. So yeah, so that's just me. That's what I do. I've taken stuff apart my entire life. Ever since I was like 8 years old. My parents gave me a little cassette player, and we were on a road trip, and it quit working, and I took a little toothpick or something and started digging inside the parts and somehow got it to work. Alright, so yeah, you can see there's our little tube for the dynamic. This is a dampener. This filters out the mids and the highs. These are pretty crucial when you're doing a hybrid setup. Sorry, I don't mean to talk like an idiot. But yeah, so these are pretty crucial. Let's see. The electrostatics, you don't want any dampening. And for whatever reason, in the last one that I tore apart, the oh, you know what I think they did? Okay, I think I know exactly what they did. So in the last one I took apart, the dynamic tube was clear, the BA tube was clear, but the electrostatic tube was always discolored. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck is it discolored? You know what they did? I think they took a smaller tube and they stretched it, or they heat treated it so it would give way a lot easier. Because I've been thinking about doing that myself. Because you better believe, where did it go? These. You can only fit so many tubes in this size here. Tubes are round. Sometimes you don't need them to be round. Sometimes they need to be like oval shape in order to fit. And goddamn, I love SoundLink and I like their tubes, but the walls are like a little too thick. So I've been thinking about using a solvent on some of them, like this 2mm tube here, because this is the same, supposed to be the same tube that the electrostatic is using, and the walls, you can see it's just too stiff. It's too stiff. It likes to retain its shape. I want it to not retain its shape. I want to shape it. And if you think that is difficult, may I introduce you to metal tube. This is a pain in the ass to deal with. God bless whoever builds IEMs using metal tube. I'm sure they probably use a combination of the PVC and the metal, because this stuff is a pain in the ass to cut, it's a pain in the ass to bend, and it's just an all-around pain in the ass to fit. It's overall smaller because the wall thickness is smaller, but it is just a freaking pain, dude, let me tell you. Alright, you know what? I'm going to remove these drivers because I do not want any oopsies. Here, I need my helping hands. Do it the right way. Oh, come on. This thing is at 600 degrees and it's having trouble melting it. There we go. Alright, and there you go. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this off camera because I gotta get this whole thing out of the resin, and this needs to stay attached, and I gotta get this tube off, which I did before, but it is super hard when you have a freaking camera on your forehead that keeps falling down. You guys there? You still see me? You still there? My bad. I didn't mean to mistreat you. Hold on, you're gonna take a nap. I'll get a better setup, I promise. Oh, hey, there I am. All right. Where's it at? There it is. Okay. Sorry, my room is a mess. My bed is literally like 2 feet away from my work desk. Oh, there's the tube. Oh, fuck. God damn it. And this is how I break stuff, because I get impatient, and I'm like, oh, I want to just do it on camera. And then I end up breaking a $100 part. Well, almost $100. They're not quite $100. Just know that I do this for you guys. Oh, and my fingers are destroyed from the resin. Whatever you do, wear gloves when you're working with resin. My hands are royally fucked right now. I've been putting creams and lotions on them. But this is all from resin the last couple days. And I was a dumbass and didn't wear gloves. And now my hands are like destroyed. So, when you work with toxic stuff, just be safe. You know, use proper ventilation. You know, don't try to be a wise guy. Say, oh, I'm still young. I can handle it. It's just a little bit of resin. Oh, I don't need a mask. You know, well, no, don't do it. Take it from me. Same thing, my lungs are fucked. You know, be safe. Know your hazardous materials. I'm so close. So this is the transformer. I don't know if you can see it. So we got our little electrostatic doodaddy. This is the two, like in the, like for instance the EST112. This is the 2 unit. It's the ESDA65D something. All Estonians' names are ridiculously long, but this is the 2 EST model. The 4 EST is the same thing, except there's 2 of them. They're separate, still one transformer, but there's 2 of them instead. The reason for it is increased output with these. They're harder to tune. You have to use more resistance on everything else, or you have to use BAs with a higher internal resistance to be able to tune. If you use, for instance, dynamic driver that's like 16 ohms, and you don't have adequate resistance on it, and you connect like an electrostatic and say you have a BA on it too, but the BA has resistance, you're going to have all bass, no treble, and a lot of mids. I think when I was still learning, the first tribrid that I made with the parts from this, I was like, just throw more resistance at it, which is like a big no-no. I'm like, just put a 100 ohm resistor on the woofer and put a... No, don't do that. Don't do that. That is not the proper way to engineer a crossover. Now, you need to create something called an L-pad. Oh, hey. Oh, look. Our transformer, yay. It just came right out. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, buddy. Oh, shit. Anyway, you have to make what's called an L pad, which is, I don't know, something linear or something, I don't know. I don't know what it stands for, but it's a couple different components in the series parallel that allow for attenuating volume. And so yeah, so God, where does that wire go? I see you. Ah, shit. God damn it. Can't stop dropping stuff. It's because my hands are so messed up. But yeah, so this is it. This is the gold right here, baby. 120 bucks on SoundLink for 2 of these, which is ridiculously expensive. I found them from another supplier for 70 bucks. No, I'm not going to tell you. But yeah, these are not cheap. So, for this little speaker, well, 2 of them, they come in pairs, but these are 120 bucks, and for the 4 EST version, $202 from SoundLink. Yeah, this is not a cheap hobby. I have spent thousands of dollars on little parts that you see all around my desk, like literally, this is like gold, just sitting and like rotting. It's crazy, man. This shit is just so expensive, but it's worth it in the end if you can make a viable product, which I've made a couple. There's a buddy of mine here in the US that I just keep throwing prototypes at him. Almost every single one of them that he gets, he's like, "Oh my god, dude, I don't know how you do it, it's so good." I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just practice. I play. I don't know where one of my prototypes is. It's probably sitting somewhere. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm not going to go any farther. You saw me take the other one apart completely. And what I thought of doing one day was taking all these green bits, because that's the same color that the other one was, and just grinding them all up and using them in my ear molds for other IEMs. Just because I thought it'd be fun to make new life out of old death. It's kind of my progress with my shells right now. I cast a mold. This is the TRN X7. Cast a little mold of. And this is the Chauzy Rouge. This is also a common Canera shell that I cloned. This is the Voyager 3 that I cloned. And then I made them longer, like taller, so I can fit more crap inside. I need to recast these, but what else do we have? And then these are universal shell type that I buy off of AliExpress, and I made a copy of it because it was cheaper than buying more. And then there's that guy, which I need to make more shells with, because I could do a much easier job making IMs than assembling them by hand. It is a painful, delicate, tedious process, and you can see from all the crap on my desk how tedious, especially making prototypes and combining drivers and making new models and all that stuff. There's just so much crap everywhere. And this is a big desk too, man. This is a big boy desk. So, alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my ramble. I hope you enjoyed me dissecting these IMs. Join me tomorrow. I will have a review of an IM. I'm not going to say which one. You might like it, you might hate it. You might think I'm a total idiot for thinking what I think, but I don't know. You might get a kick out of it. Shout out to my boy Timmy. He's the man. He has loaned me a lot of IMs. Very expensive IMs that I feel scared to take care of. It's like a child. Like I literally showed up to work 2 hours late so I could wait for the mailman to deliver the package, and the package came smashed. It's like my worst nightmare. But anyways, guys, take care. Everybody be safe out there. Have a happy new year. Stay safe. Don't drink too much. Enjoy your IMs, and don't be afraid to take shit apart if you think you can turn it into something. If you have a hobby, if you have a passion, run with it. You know, turn it into something fun. Alright guys, have a good night. See ya.